Okay, so here's day 2. I made it through day 1. I didn't know how it was going to feel to video and get it posted and everything, but we did it. And so let's go for day number 2. I'm committing to myself to work through it and learn something a little new every day. So today was my first day back to work after, getting through the holidays. And of course, like everybody, you had some things that piled up that you have to get through. I'm still sorting through some emails and things. But aside from that, I feel like actually really hopeful. I felt good about this process and that there's unlimited opportunity, really. Some of the things that I thought I was going to need to work through to be ready to try to make these videos have come to me in different ways that felt like confirmation. So I think I mentioned yesterday that I did take a master class on how to do YouTube and, potentially like grow an audience and all those kinds of things. And I got lucky that the person that I wanted to take the class from actually had a sale on New Year's Eve. I went back in to pay the full price and she had it half off. And so shout out to Glow. And I was able to take advantage of that. I also wanted to start off this year not really making resolutions, but just working on self-improvement in general. And one of the things that I was committing to doing was I saw this Proverbs 31-day wisdom challenge. And so I signed up to do that. Today was day 5, right? Because it's Jan 5. And so 31 books in Proverbs, 31 days. January's got 31 days, all that. So it was one of those weird things that happens where everybody that has like a channel or something on YouTube probably has an offering. And so even though the challenge was 31 days and you could do it for free, and you can, they offer a $31 thing where you get a journal and like backstage access to spend some more time listening to the commentary and conversation with the guest speakers and those kinds of things after they've kind of dissected the chapter. So I paid the $31 because I was listening to a particular person that I was into. And, that was after going back and forth with myself about, do I really want to do, spend this money, and what's it really going to be about and all that. And then I had to laugh at myself because I had just spent a couple weeks ago, I want to say like $68 to do a cookie making class with my daughter, who asked me to do that with her. And I thought that was so sweet, that she still would want to do that kind of a thing with me. So we did, and it was fun. So anyway, I'm like, well, girl, if you could spend $68 on a cookie making class, you can spend $31 on getting some extra Jesus, like, stop playing. So I did it. And then you're supposed to get like a link to be able to go to the next segment of it, and the link didn't come. So then I was frustrated. I'm like, I shouldn't have done this, whatever, all the things, right? And then, how most companies now don't have like a live person that answers your customer service question. Is usually an AI bot or something like that, and they do pretty all right. But in this case, the bot suggested that I check my spam. And so I did. And the link was not in the spam, although it did show up later. Shout out to 31-day Proverbs wisdom challenge, because everything's good. But in the process of checking my spam, I found another email that I wouldn't have otherwise found. And it was from Arlen. What is Arlen's last name? I'm having a brain fart, and I know her last name. But anyway, a VC founder that does a lot of good things, and she was offering a opportunity to learn from her how to make your first $5,000 with like an offer that you might sell for like $100. And I guess previously she was charging $100 to participate in this, and I happened upon it at that moment for free. And so I consider that to be like a confirmation kind of a situation. And I was like, okay, I see what you did there. Because if this didn't happen, then this didn't happen, and then that didn't happen, and then that didn't send me to here, and then that, all of the things. So it's interesting because a few different things like that were happening where kind of backwards and upside and down, I was getting different confirmations that it is time for me to go ahead and make some of these changes and pursue this, right? Worst case scenario, I'm talking to myself, but at least I get it out, and maybe it's sort of like a free therapy, who knows? In best case scenario, maybe I say something that helps someone, and or we vibe. So today, I'm just thinking about what brought me here, right? So as I said, I'm a mom, I'm a nurse. I've been working since I'm 14 years old. I've been working in healthcare for 25 years. And it's been good. Like, it's afforded me the opportunity to, buy homes and take care of my kids and all of those things. So no complaints that way. But honestly, when I got into nursing, my first thought was not, oh, I really, really want to be a nurse for my whole lifetime. Like, I went to school and studied film and TV the first time. And I did an internship at HBO with a casting director named Kimberly Williams. And she was super sweet and helpful in teaching me a lot of things. And then I honestly did not stay in working in entertainment because I needed to get a job because I got married young and I had kids young, and I had these bills. And I didn't think I could afford to, do that intern for free thing and, or be somebody's PA for however long to, finish breaking into the business. I've always felt like a creative. I've always been into art, music. I like to dance. I like to draw. Like in high school, I took all the AP art classes and all of that. And I actually almost went to fashion school for college. I got into FIDM, and I got into UC Davis, who also had fashion school, and that's what I wanted to do. And I actually just didn't get a dorm, so I didn't go. I ended up at UCLA. But that worked out well too. Go Bruins. Okay, so anyway, my thought about going to nursing school originally was that I would, work 3 12-hour shifts, as is standard in a lot of places, and then I'd have 4 days of the week to pursue my other interests. But, as life happens, life happened, right? So I had mom duties. Work was tiring, right? You don't necessarily feel like running around for 4 days after you've done 3 12s in a row or whatever it was. And then some of the time I hustled because I was trying to save up to buy my kids, buy a house for them to grow up in and all of those things. So like, I think my very first nursing job out of school, I made like $22 an hour, something ridiculous like that. And that was here in California. It's much better than that now. But at the time, I was trying to figure out how to hustle up and be able to afford a home so they could grow up in a house. And I had to decide, did I want to pay for private school for them, or did I want to pay for the house for them? So I tried to find a neighborhood that had good public schools that I could afford to buy a house. And that moved us way out into the boonies. It's not the boonies anymore, but at the time, it was way far. Everything is kind of connected now, but I lived in an area called East Highlands Ranch. And my daughter got a chance to learn how to ride horses while we lived there. All kinds of, it was a lot of good things, but it was kind of isolated. And I just worked to pay for all these things for them. And I realized some time was going by in my life. I wasn't doing a lot of dating. I also didn't want to just bring any old body around my kids because I didn't trust people like that. And then, time just went by. And I kind of was like, well, I date a little bit here and there, just never quite was the right person. A couple times I thought it might be, and then it just wasn't right to fit. But I've stayed open, and I'm still open. We'll find out. But I thought I was going to do film and TV some kind of way. When I was at UCLA, I did study film and TV, and Afro-American studies. And then I ended up being a nurse. Imagine that. So this is kind of a full circle moment where I'm recognizing for myself that I do still need to find creative outlets and work through things like hot flashes. And go ahead and really just be more of me. So as I'm being more of me, I'm thinking about, what does that look like? What would feel like a comfortable life for me, aside from living in a comfortable surrounding? Wanting to really have that added beauty. And it's beauty in not just, like I said, my surroundings, not just, stuff, but like being able to get outside more and enjoy nature. Being able to go to more live music and concerts, because I love that. I'm a big neo soul fan, jazz, Latin jazz, a bunch of other things, but those are probably my top three. R&B, but I like a little other soft rock and other things too. Depends on who it is, what's going on. I'm just not a metal fan. But, culture, like when's the last time I went to a museum, right? I want to go to a museum. I want to go to a play. I want to go to a ballet, and just in taking more of that kind of stuff that feeds your soul. And I want to live comfortably. Don't get me wrong. I think that I've earned it, and I'm also not going to live above my means, but it would be nice for my means to increase so I could live a little bit above where I'm living. How about that? So I think I have to start planning some more intentional things. I'm going to take a vacation soon. I'm looking forward to that. I actually have my suitcase on the floor over there right now, so I can start packing, and maybe I'll do a couple of these videos while I'm on vacay. And hopefully I get some time to just sip some tea and, plot my big, hairy dream for the next half of my life. But I think that it's going to be good. It's going to be designed around finding mental rest, spiritual rest, physical rest. At the same time of, working to stay fit, working to stay healthy, and just working to laugh more, allowing myself to be the goofy person that I am, and spending more time with friends. I have a small circle of really good friends, and I wouldn't mind making another friend or two. But it's interesting because I find that a lot of my adult friends have said it's hard to make new adult friends. And I guess it is, because we don't meet people the way we used to as organically anymore, right? Like back in the day, right, when you was a cute, fine young thing and you're out walking around in the world, some guy would have to come shoot his shot right away, because he might not ever see you again, right? And it wasn't what's your Instagram, or there's no DMs to slide into, and it wasn't all, the internet dating and all of that stuff hadn't happened yet. So somebody had to, shoot their shot, and you had to decide right then if you felt like you had at least enough chemistry to want to give them your number, and then find out that way if they're a weirdo or not. And friends a lot of times are made at school, right? But then at work, work can be so structured in certain ways that you may not make those kinds of connections, or you might not work with the people that you want to connect with. Being a nurse, I work with a lot of women. And, of course, doctors too, but I find a lot of the doctors that I work with are either much older or much younger, like the new, young, cute little residents. And at this point, I'm old enough to be their fine auntie. But, and then some of the older ones are not necessarily my cup of tea. I like age appropriate, though. And or they're married, and I don't play with other people's husbands. That's not what we do. And so, with the vast majority of women, meeting somebody at work sometimes is not as easy. Some of the women, you might be friendly with at work, but maybe they're your work friends. They're not necessarily your, I want to hang out with you outside of work friends. And, I've kind of evolved a little bit too, because I think as I was coming through professionally, I had so much stuff going on outside of work. When I was done with my hours of work, I wanted to just go home. I was tired, or also I had to take care of stuff at the house and take care of, my kids and all that. And so I was not really the joiner. Like, I wasn't the one that was like, yeah, let's go to the happy hour, let's hang outside of work kind of a thing. And as I got older and, kind of promoted through the ranks a little bit, I realized that some of the schmoozing you have to do, because, that's where people decide if they want to promote you, or, a lot of the things happen based on if they like you as opposed to if you're the most qualified, right? And then so sometimes it's good to put your face in a place and at least, be sociable for a little bit. But in terms of making real connections, sometimes that can be a little bit harder. So I am blessed, though, that I have a small group of really good friends, and they have at times been more family than family. And so I can't complain. But I think that, like those people that are on Instagram and they're like, okay, God, show me how much better it can be. Show me how great it can be. And all of their manifesting and stuff. I don't really know how I feel about manifesting per se. I do believe in putting out positive energy and drawing the type of energy that you put out. And I do think that there's a lot of things that we can learn if we're open to it. There's a lot more things that you can experience, unlocking a little bit more of your brain, and being open to what comes. So we'll see. And I'm excited for the ride. Let me know what you would like to see as I go through and start trying to try some of these things. I'm going to make an appointment soon to go to the head spa. And I am also going to do cupping pretty soon too. And so those will be new experiences for me. Maybe you've done it already and you can give me kind of a heads up. I didn't tell you also, I do own a day spa. And so, but we don't do cupping, but we're about to start. So that's why I'm going to learn how that feels. And, you would think someone that owns a day spa would get massages all the time. I don't. I usually leave the space for the paying customers because, after COVID, it's a business. You've got to make it work. And we opened right before COVID, which was a nightmare, but who knew? But so anyway, I'm working on trying to even do something as simple as go to my own dang spa. How about that? But I'd like to try some of the other things that are out there, the other modalities. And today's also my first day back of my current semester in my doctoral program. So when I finish this video, I gotta go check and see if I've got homework to do. But I made this commitment to myself. I'm excited about it, and I'm committed to you too. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and we'll see what comes out of this mouth then. Have a great evening and find a way to add some beauty to your day.